Chris Andrews said you swaggered into his office a couple weeks ago and recommended some sort of college football prop. How'd that go down, Brent?
Well, sometimes he puts 4 teams out against the field, but as Chris explained to me, Brent, if I put the 4 teams out that are favored, everybody jumped the 4. So he said, what do you think if I did a few more groupings? I said, go for it. Go for it. I said, people love props like this, and so he came up with it. And Vinny, I think you predicted which 6 teams would wind up being a favorite. Walk us through those 6.
Yeah, we when I walked back to the office, it's funny because the day Brent was in here, Chris and I were just talking about it right before the show. So I said, we'll talk more after the show. Well, Brent got out of the studio, and he went over to Chrissy. So we were having a good laugh. And when he showed me, he goes, I put these teams together. So I looked at it, and the one group, which is the favorite, Ohio State, Oklahoma, and Georgia, along with UNC, Oregon, and Texas A&M, minus a quarter, had to make them the favorite. I mean, when you look at it, obviously, Ohio State right at the top, Oklahoma, given their schedule, with the leading candidate, not saying he's going to win the Heisman, but certainly the leading candidate for the Heisman. And then, of course, Georgia, who does not play Alabama, Texas A&M, or LSU during the regular season this year. So I said to Chris, because he asked me, the way Chris and I do things, and I love this, is that he'll say, I got a price in mind. What's your price? And we compare, and then Chris makes the final decision, which is a great exercise. And I said, listen, this group has to be the favorite because of those 3 teams alone. Even though A&M is there's high hopes for A&M with Jimbo Fisher this year, UNC coming off a nice season. But it's still about Clemson in the ACC, and, of course, Oregon in a wide-open Pac-12. So the other 2 groups, and then I'll let Brent comment on it, Alabama, Texas, Iowa State, Miami, Penn State, and Cincinnati, plus 2.25. The second group, Clemson, LSU, USC, Notre Dame, Florida, and Wisconsin at 4-1, and everybody else grouped together at 20-1. And good action. We've not moved the price yet.
I would bump that field price up to about 50.
It's going to go up. The field will go up.
I agree.
That field will go up.
When do you take this down? When's the last time you can bet this? I want to make a point.
Week 1, Brent, but we could probably make an adjustment after. And I don't call it week 0. I know because, of course, that first week is, that big Clemson-Georgia game is going to tell.
That's the game.
Yeah, that's going to have a lot to say about a price.
If Clemson comes through with a big win over the Dogs, that 4-1 will drop. There'll be action going in there. So you hold up on it going into that week, and then Chris will decide, do we want to leave it up and make an adjustment? I think we can make an adjustment after.
Who would you bet, Brent?
I would take the favorite, only because I happen to be leaning toward the Buckeyes now.
Yeah.
I do like the Buckeyes. Okay, I like that. Plus, you throw in Oklahoma, and this Georgia team looks decent. And oh, by the way, Texas A&M is a sleeper in the SEC West. Now I got Alabama. Everybody knows I love the Tide. I love them. He's got to replace 4 coaches on the offensive side of the ball. And Nick Saban has told me his toughest job is coaching up the coaches, not the players. He wants the coaches to coach in a certain way. He did a great job with Sarkisian, who's now the head coach of Texas. We'll see what he does with Coach O'Brien in there, Matty. But there are too many questions for me to jump back in on my Tide that won it for me last year. So that's what I was. But right now, I would take Ohio State. Oklahoma's thrown in. Georgia's there. And like I said, Texas A&M. Oregon, and interestingly enough, Oregon, I believe, week 2 goes to Columbus to play the Buckeyes.
They do.
Okay? Going to be a very big game.
Which game early in the college football season are you most looking forward to? Is it that Clemson-Georgia game?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's a trendsetter. Listen, the Dogs, Vinny, did you tell me that they had a relatively easy schedule in the SEC? I don't think they play Alabama in the regular season.
Texas A&M, Alabama, or LSU. Yeah. So they're really in a terrific position. And I believe Texas A&M's game against Alabama is at College Station.
Brent, I know you love the Rose Bowl. I love Pasadena, my favorite place to watch a college football game. That's a sneaky good game, September 4th. LSU at UCLA.
Interesting game.
Right?
Interesting game.
See what
LSU,
Chip Kelly's got.
They figure to be, what's the number on it?
4.5.
4.5?
LSU.
They figure to be, they can't be as bad as they were last year. And they changed the defensive coordinator down at LSU. But UCLA, you keep waiting for them to be a little bit stronger, We'll see. We see what Coach comes up with.